Hi, my name is Bob Friedman. I'm Vice President for Policy at the J. Craig Venner Institute. What science do I work on? I'm trained as a scientist in ecology and environmental science. I now focus on understanding the societal and policy implications of emerging technologies, particularly those in the life sciences. Let me give a specific example of one such technology called gene drive. A gene drive is a genetic construct that you can engineer into an organism to bias inheritance rather than randomly inheriting a trait from the male or female parent. For example, eye color. A gene drive ensures that all offspring will have the mother's eye color. None will inherit the father's eye color. So, for example, here in San Diego, some scientists are trying to engineer mosquitoes so that they can no longer transmit the pathogen that causes malaria, a dreadful international disease. Without a gene drive component, you would have to flood a population with thousands upon thousands of engineered mosquitoes to introduce the desired trait. With a gene drive, you would only have to introduce a small number, maybe 10, 20 individuals, um, into a population, and because of this biased inheritance, within, say, the time span of a season, the population of mosquitoes would no longer be able to transmit malaria. But what if you made a mistake and a harmful trait were introduced, or what you thought was going to work on malaria didn't quite work? How could you control it? I don't work on the nuts and bolts of the genetic engineering, rather on how such an organism might be regulated, both nationally within the US and internationally under the Convention on Biological Diversity, which is about as close as the world comes to an international regulatory framework for biotechnology. Gene drive is an example of a technology that might do tremendous good, but if improperly regulated, might also do tremendous harm. What's the science that I'm most passionate about? Well, the science I'm most passionate about is called, quote, technology assessment. That is anticipating how technology helps to shape society, not just in the life sciences, but other technologies as well, information technology, artificial intelligence, you name it. We live in a high-tech world governed by policymakers who are typically not so high-tech. They don't have a good understanding of how to shape those technological forces for the good of society. Who has been my inspiration? Well, this was my first real boss out of graduate school. His name was Jack Gibbons. He later went on to become the science advisor to former President Bill Clinton. Jack was an academic physicist who, in mid-career, switched to become an energy and environmental scientist in response to the nation's energy and environmental problems. Jack was my boss at a nonpartisan congressional agency where I worked. And the job of our agency was to provide policy advice on issues with a significant science and technological component. I originally went there at essentially a one-year sort of postdoctoral opportunity, and ended up spending 17 years in working for the Congress and turning that into my career. What kind of a high school student was I? Well, I really enjoyed learning, but I was very undisciplined and all over the map. I loved to learn, but truly hated having to memorize things. So basically, I didn't. Thus, in several courses, I had mixtures of A's and B's depending on the nature of the task I was assigned, or the type of test. I couldn't decide what I wanted to do in college, thus picked a college that didn't require me to identify a major early on, which I guess leads to my high school self-advice. What do I wish I could have advised my high school self? I would try to help my high school self be more disciplined, more disciplined, focused student. Either my parents went to college. Thus, though they were supportive of my academic interests, they really did not know how to help me pursue them. In fact, my dad was a bit hurt when I said I preferred to go to college than to join him running his lumberyard, which I really had very little interest doing. I could have used some tips on how to get more out of high school, how to sort of start my science and tech career a little earlier in a little more disciplined fashion. A random fact about me that you can't find on the internet. I am very colorblind, and folks like me, color-coded graphs, maps, and so on are truly annoying. And even though a large percentage of the population is colorblind, these types of graphs and maps are used all the time. I didn't find out that I was colorblind until I was in high school, actually. So, a plea to the teachers, go easy on those color-coded graphs. You may have some students struggling to figure them out because they have no idea that they're colorblind. Anyway, that's a little bit about me. I look forward to working, joining your classroom virtually and talking a little bit about the societal implications of new and emerging technologies. Thanks. Bye.